Hey, what's up, guys? It's Corey Sultry Floyd. I'm back, and I'm here to talk about Thor Ragnarok. Now, I'll tell you right fucking now, this one's got spoilers. There are spoilers. There will be spoilers. You don't want spoilers. If you look down, there's a link to one of our podcasts. You watch it, and you like it because this is gonna have some spoilers in it, and I don't want to hear you bitching in the comments because I'm telling you now, this has spoilers. Now, Thor Ragnarok, it's a third installment, and this one goes off the rails and into the universe. Now, of course, in the other two films, mainly dealt with Midgard, and then in the second movie, you saw all these other realms that we can't fucking pronounce, and no one really gave a shit. It's okay. This third one, we end up in space, but first, let me get to what happens. Now, in the beginning of the film, just like the very first trailer, Thor's literally caught up in a cage and he's monologuing. And if you can't notice, Thor has embraced a lot of Midgard, especially when it comes to how to talk. And yeah, he does sound a little Starkish, or just a little, a little more sarcastic than usual, or just sarcastic. Period, because he used to not be as sarcastic. Anyway, he's actually in Surtur's trap. Surtur being a fire demon, and he's actually supposed to be part of Ragnarok. Now, Ragnarok literally means the end of all things. When Ragnarok happens, Asgard is no more. But ironically, Thor whoops his guy's ass. Mind you, Surtur is voiced by Clancy Brown, aka Mr. Krabs. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But he ends up kicking his ass and finally returning to Asgard. Now, for those of you guys who actually saw Thor: The Dark World, you know that Loki took the throne. He's actually posing as Thor. I mean, as Odin. And when Thor gets there, Odin's putting on a play of Thor: The Dark World, but it's told that Loki's the hero. Now, here's where things get hilarious. In the play, Thor is being played by a kid named Luke Helmsworth. Yes, there's another Helmsworth. There's Chris, Luke, and Liam. And so there's another Helmsworth playing Thor. And Odin was played by Sam Neill, aka Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park, if you didn't know that. But Thor catches on pretty easily that he's not who he says he is, and plays the ultimate game of chicken. And it is fucking hilarious. He literally throws Mjolnir off into the distance and grabs Odin and puts him in front of him. He's like, now if you were my father, you can stop the hammer. So the hammer's coming at a warp speed. He's like, I yield. You see, it's Loki. Thor catches the hammer, and before he kicks his ass, he's like, all right, where the hell's Dad? I took him down to Midgard. They go to Midgard, come to find out, took him to a retirement home that's been demolished. And they were like, so where's Odin? Loki's like, I don't know. Of course, this is the Marvel Universe, so people see Thor in the street. Someone literally stops to ask for a selfie. During the selfie, a weird portal opens up under Loki, and he is engulfed. When Thor goes to investigate it, he ends up picking up a card that says 177 Delancey Street. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's the home of the Sanctum Sanatorium from Doctor Strange. So next you know, Thor's knocking on the door. Boom, he's inside the sanatorium meeting Doctor Strange, who's, of course, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. And then it ties into the cutscene that we saw at the end of Doctor Strange. Pretty much, he shows him that he's like, oh yeah, I know where he is. Sure, I'll take you to him. It's a great bit. There's a lot of good amount of slapstick comedy going on, and not just in this scene, but in this movie in general. But then they're actually in Norway. Looks like they're looking upon a fjord. Fjord's a river type thing. Google it. And of course, they're met by Anthony Hopkins, who's played Odin through all three movies. Now, of course, Anthony Hopkins is one of the greatest actors of our time, so when his mouth opens, everyone needs to shut up. Now, sadly, he tells the boys that he's sorry he can't go back with them. And he does give a brief warning that they have a sister named Hera. And he dies. He turns into dust and goes up into the sky. And literally, after he dies, in comes Hera, huge entrance, played by Cate Blanchett. Cate Blanchett is an Oscar-worthy actress, and now she's coming in as the eldest sister and as well as the god of death. Needless to say, things don't go well. This is where in that epic scene in the trailer, which I always feel like they should have just left out because I feel like that would have been something great to just see and be shocked by, Mjolnir gets destroyed. Now, how everyone gets to space is actually really interesting. Loki, being the bitch coward that he is, yells for the Bifrost Bridge to be opened. So of course they open it and they're all traveling to Asgard, all three of them. Loki tries to fight Hera. Hera literally kicks him out of the bridge, so he's literally thrown to the cosmos. Thor tries to fight as well. He gets thrown out as well. Now, somehow through all of this, they both get out and they find themselves on a strange new planet. Meanwhile, back on Asgard, Heimdall is wanted by Asgardian justice. Because, mind you, Loki's been posing as Odin, and from what happened in the Dark World, Heimdall's looked at as a criminal. Now, who's covering the Bifrost Bridge? Scar. Scar, played by Carl fucking Urban. This guy has been everywhere over the last 7 years. I've seen him play Hank McCoy. I've seen him play Judge Dredd. I've seen him play a cop with a robot for a partner. It was Almost Human. It was on Fox. You should check it out. And now he plays Scourge, aka the Executioner. He ends up working directly for Hera, and they're gonna literally wipe all of Asgard just to rule it. Now, here's one of the things I got mad about. The Warriors 3, but not Lady Sif, were in this movie. Each one of them dies so quickly. It's kind of sad. Actually, it is sad. There was build up to one's death, but the first two, they were just, it was just like, whoa, damn, okay, guess that's how we're doing things. Meanwhile, back on the other side of the universe, Thor finds himself in a junkyard. Yeah, it's like an intergalactic junkyard, and he's fighting off these intergalactic hobos, from what it looks like, until until it all stops because someone known as Scrapper 142 shows up. Right. So next you know, this woman comes out and she's known as Scrapper 142, and she tries to give the space hobos an ultimatum. Clearly they weren't hearing that shit. So she presented herself with these two electronic remote controls that controlled the Gatling guns on her ship, which were wild. So eventually after doing away with them, she captures Thor, flies out, comes to this big huge palace in the middle of the space city. It's ran by the headmaster. The headmaster is played by Jeff Goldblum. If you don't know who Jeff Goldblum is, I don't know what the fuck you're doing here. He's in The Fly. He's the smartest man in the Jurassic Park movies. By the way, he's coming back for the new Jurassic Park. But anyway, he's just an all-around awesome actor and a surprisingly funny person. Now, here's the thing that cracks me up. His intro is maybe one of the biggest Easter eggs in the film. Because Thor wakes up in this chair going down this tunnel that has this wild holographic introduction about the headmaster. The song Pure Imagination is played. Yes, the song from Willy Wonka and the fucking Chocolate Factory. Yes, that is being played. And then, just like in the actual original movie, everything started to get really dark, really kind of scary, and Thor screams like a little bitch just for everything to stop and him to be in the middle of a throne room talking to the eccentric headmaster played by Jeff Goldblum. Let's just be honest. Jeff Goldblum's being paid to be Jeff Goldblum. This scrapper is played by Tessa Thompson. Tessa Thompson, you saw her as the girlfriend for Adonis Creed in Creed, and she also was in the cult classic, which is now a Netflix series, Dear White People. But looks like the black girl magic is still going way up. But now she's a Valkyrie. She's an Asgardian. If Odin had, well, he did have an army, a personal army, it was the Valkyries. And apparently she's the last one, Highlander style. Highlander, if y'all don't know. I'm gonna just keep rolling. But anyway, they meet Thor, and of course, Headmaster makes everything a joke. He lets him know that he wants. Of course, Thor needs to get out of here and get back to Asgard. Asgard's under siege, so he's like, "Okay, I'll make you a deal. If you can beat my champion, I'll let you go." So a deal was made. Lo and behold, in the very same throne room, there's Loki, not tied up. And of course, Loki tries to disown him, but of course, Thor's mouth moves a lot faster than his. But next, they lead to the main event, where before he goes out there, Thor actually meets a few interesting characters that, even in this spoiler-free review, I don't want to give them up because it will be too fun. So I want you to make sure you go see it. But he meets some very interesting characters that become key, that are going to become key players somewhere down the road. And of course, they cut his hair. The barber Stan Lee. It's a very funny cameo. I loved it. So now he has the clean cut. He puts on the helmet and he's fighting Hulk. Now, a lot of people were questioning what this fight was about exactly. Because, Hulk still recognizes who Thor is. Hulk just doesn't fuck with Thor. And the logic behind it was very interesting. Hulk was like, "You're not Hulk's friend. You're Banner's friend." So, and the Hulk identifies himself for himself, and he speaks separate from Banner. And apparently Hulk has been Hulk since Age of Ultron. So Hulk's been walking around 2 years straight. The fight gets intense, and we see an extra surge of power from Thor, and it looks like Thor is actually going to win. But, big spoiler, he gets cheated by the headmaster. He's tased in the middle of the fight, and Hulk knocks him the fuck out. Now, I know you guys are upset. I was kind of upset too, but it's cool because Lord knows in the comics, none of it. They never really had a even ending. Now, further on in the film, Hulk actually is hanging out with Thor inside Hulk's own little palace in the place because the planet loves him. He's loved there. He's worshipped there. He's celebrated there. Hulk has no reason to go home. We also get a gratuitous butt shot of the Hulk, which is maybe hands down one of the funniest moments because Hulk was sitting in a hot tub, then he got out, and Chris Hemsworth was like, "Well, can't get that out of my sight now. It's going to be in my mind, haunting me in my dreams." It's hilarious. I mean, I thought it was funny. But come to find out, things are still going to hell back at Asgard. We catch up with Heimdall, who has locks now. He has the sword to open the bridge. Apparently he moved fast and stole it. And Heimdall's look kind of looks a lot like Forge from X-Men Days of Future Past. So I was just like, okay, kind of looks like Forge, just older and more Asgardian. But it's all good. Now, eventually, they get to the fated Quinjet that we last saw at Age of Ultron. Come to find out, Hulk refuses to leave home, and he wanted Thor to stay, so he was going to destroy the ship. In the midst of Hulk smashing, he activated a voice recording, and we got a little peek at Scarlett Johansson. Now, it was a recorded scene from the end of Age of Ultron where she was telling him to turn around, but he loves her so much that Banner came back. First time Mark Ruffalo's been himself, Banner's been himself for the last 2 years, and the fact that he was on a different planet freaked him the hell out, and it was hilarious. Not only that, but in the mid freaking out, he was getting into an argument with Thor, and we saw a brief micro change into the Hulk because he was now. Next, these two dudes decided to make a big escape, and of course, the headmaster wasn't having any of it. So he had Loki and Valkyrie go after them. Now, Loki and Valkyrie end up having a little fight, and I enjoyed it because it was the first time I've actually seen Tom Hiddleston get physical in this film. I'm pretty sure it's a stunt double, but you know what you know exactly what I mean. But it was it was fresh, and it was pretty cool. now the chase Now the chase ended up leading them back to the headmaster's castle, and they ended up running into Loki. Loki loses a fight, and he's pretty much stuck being kind of their helper slash captor. There's a really good banter between Thor and Loki, and there's a funny scene where they were like, "So how are we gonna get out of this? Why don't we do help me?" He's like, "I hate help me." Help me is a bit where they walk into a room and Loki's like, and Thor's like, "Can someone please help him? He's hurt." And when the guards walk closer, he literally throws Loki into the guards, and it's hilarious. Now, normally in the last several times we've seen Loki and Thor together, there's a shady backstabbing. And Thor remembered this. So Loki tries to backstab him, but actually Thor backstabs Loki. It's interesting, especially since I feel like this was a fourth wall breaking moment, because Thor talks about character development, becoming a better person, which normally is a very important thing in film, but it's also an important thing in life. The more you know. So he leaves Loki there. They get on this amazing ship called the Commodore. That's the headmaster's favorite ship. It has no weapons, but it looks cool. Valkyrie, Thor, and Hulk, they ride off because they actually need to go back to the junkyard area and get into one of those huge portals that will take them directly to Asgard. And the portal is literally referred to as the Devil's Anus. So of course an immense chasing goes on. You have Thor and Valkyrie jumping off their ship to take down these other ships. Pretty much hand to ship combat with Bruce Banner behind the wheel. The music is super synthesized, super 80s, very, like I said, very space opera-esque. It's a ton of fun, and for some reason there's even fireworks. Now, here's one of the interesting points. They get back to Asgard. Hera has used her powers to bring her personal army back from the dead, as well as Fenrir. Fenrir was this huge demon dog that was like her personal pet, that apparently when she was locked away, Odin killed all of it off. Thera also revealed that Odin was not the best dad. And we're not just talking about, the way he kind of hid that Loki was an elf. The fact that he literally could, after he realized he didn't want to be that type of king anymore, he killed off her army and locked her away. So he tries to make you feel bad for her, but she's such a bitch. So fuck that. Now, one of the things I really enjoy about Ragnarok is, of course, the third act, because it is the big bonanza. The people are trying to stand up and fight for themselves. Heimdall's out there trying to get survivors to bite Frost. The ship shows up. Hulk. There's a hilarious scene where Bruce Banner is still in Banner form, He's like, "Don't worry, I have a plan." He jumps off the jet. Now he jumps off the spaceship, and I think this was to make a reference to the Ed Norton Hulk movie where he jumped off of a ship to turn into Hulk. And just like in that movie, it didn't happen in midair. He actually crash lands. But in this one, it was way funnier because the Bifrost Bridge is clear and rainbowy, so it just looked like boom, and the wolf just kind of sniffed him and it just assumed he was dead. But luckily, eventually he popped up, and there's a great fight going on there. There's a very vicious fight going on back in the castle between Hera and Thor, and I mean, it's vicious. Ironically, Thor gets his eye taken out, so he looks just like his dad. But next you know, there's another ship. Loki comes. It's a bigger ship. Helps to take the refugees out, and they all realize that they cannot defeat Hera. They just can't. So what do they go? So what do? They do what they do the craziest idea thought of. They actually make Ragnarok happen. Now, how they do that, I am not telling. I'm not. I will give away spoilers, but I'm not giving away all the spoilers. I know you're mad. I ain't shit, and that's okay. But hopefully, if you gotten to this point, you're still hyped and you still want to go take your ass out and go see Thor Ragnarok. And guess what? You should. It's one of the best movies out right now. I actually think that this will completely shit on Justice League. Am I still gonna go see Justice League? Yes, but I actually don't think it's gonna add up. This was a awesome, fun-paced movie. This, like, for 2 hours and 10 minutes, this movie goes by so fast because there's so much happening. Like, I actually hope you're able to contain it in your mind. You know what? I actually might go see it again. I just might. Meanwhile, what I need you guys to do, make sure you hit that damn like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're giving away a video game this month. Maybe you won't have to be out there at 4 a.m. on Black Friday just so you don't have to pay for it for the extra $20 off. Subscribe, like. It's Call of Duty World War II. Pick up a shirt. Oh, just pick up a shirt. And for your readers, make sure you pick up Bloody Mary Coven. But seriously, guys, this is Corey Salt's True Floyd. Have a good one. Go to the movies.
Hey guys, 13 the Almighty here from Amerime Junkies, and if you enjoyed this video and you want to watch more, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, hit the notifications button so you always stay up to date when we release a new video. I'm 13 the Almighty, and I'm signing out.